Hey guys, this is Hari. I have been a part of PI Elite program since January this year. Started off learning a lot of things about the basics in terms of uh, how do you go about trading, how much does psychology play a role in, how much does risk management play a role in, and getting consistent results and the kind of efforts that basically are required for that. And, Pranav has put in together a good material set for, prepping towards empowering us to become independent traders. And that's a good starting point. And from there, today I am actually in position to actually start entering trading all by myself. And I generally I basically matured from asking Pranav if I can take this position to taking the positions and telling him that hey, these are the positions that I've taken. So I think for somebody who's a working professional to gain this kind of confidence in a short span of 4 5 months, kudos to you, Pranav. So
thank you, Hari.
Yeah. So I think as a first question, right, Pranav? Why trading and why would you recommend trading for someone to actually get to a financially sound point in life? What do you think makes the difference?
So to answer this question, I think I'll have to get into my own journey because that is how I realized the potential these markets can have. So after finishing my engineering, I was super interested in electronics and automobile electronics basically, and that is how I got into Bosch. And in fact, even in college, we were one of the only teams to represent India in an international country for doing a complete electric car from scratch and competing in that event, right? So I was a total science nerd, right? So from there to completely shifting my domain into finances, there must have been something really different that should have striked, right? So going through this journey, I joined Bosch and I was working there as an electronics engineer. And during this time is when my colleagues actually pushed me into actually, you should start investing money into the stocks and all of these things. But eventually, once I started investing, I also saw that the prices were moving up and down every single day. And I was like, definitely there must be people taking advantage of this because I was not aware of what is intraday, positional, swing. I had no clue. All of these words were like Greek and Latin for me. So that is when I started doing a bit of research and started trading in the markets, little bit in equity. And the beginner's luck, the first 1-2 months, I did trading here and there and made a bit of profits. And then over a period of time, I got into the, once you get into trading, it's very difficult to come out of it. So I started trading and I lost almost like 60-70K over a period of 8-9 months. So at that point of time, that was like a good amount of chunk of money for me, right? And so when that happened, I instantly also realized some of the days I was making a very, very big profit, but the losses were even more bigger than that. But then if you're making such a big profit on a single day, then there must be definitely a way you could actually make consistent results and make smaller profits that can actually eventually add another source of income that can accelerate your journey. And I think somewhere around July of 2020, this is where the actual turnaround actually happened. So probably what I can do is, share my screen and also let's get into my P&L report so that people get a better idea and you can also understand how my journey has been, right? So
yeah, numbers speak louder than words.
Yeah. So right now, if you see my account value is like 53 rupees because I trade in a different account right now. But this is where my journey started. So let's go to the P&L report and let's start with equity, right? So I think I took my first trade somewhere in October of 2018. Okay, so this is where my first journey started. So let's go till December of 2018. Yeah. So yeah, this is like pretty much little bit of 1 or 2 trades in equity and nothing in options at all. So I didn't know what is options at that point of time. So then after this, the major trading came from, okay, so December 2019 and Jan of 2019. Let's go here. Yeah, now we are speaking. Right. So you see, initially I had a few wins. March was kind of profitable. And then April also was somewhere here and there. And as you see, I just got into the complete zone of reds. Like I've been trading all the days, but nothing is going really right. Everything was just, up and down, and ultimately it was around 62,000 of losses as well. Right. So, and I think let's shift to options. So I think in 2019 itself, I started options. September is when I started options. So this is how I started. On September 3rd, first trade, 20 rupees loss. So, and
we're talking different denominations.
So 20 rupees loss, and then eventually, so like I said, until June 2020. Okay. So yeah, I had around like 38,000 loss overall. So if you see red, and this is the time when I got into options. I definitely did not have enough capital for selling, but at the same time, the margin requirement was also pretty less, right? So all I was doing was option buying. And I don't think I was making a loss only because it was buying. It is also that my analysis, my understanding of the markets, everything was at a very, very young level, right? So it was not very mature. And the turnaround happened exactly from July 2020. And from there, my life completely changed towards what is the markets and what it can do. So let's get into July. Okay, what's wrong with this?
No, that's because your to date is less than your from date.
Okay. So, yeah. So July 2020 to, let's go to, yeah, June 2021. Yeah. Yes. So this is where my life actually turned around, right? So July to Feb, I made approximately 2.36 lakhs in profits. Ignore the charges, because for me, understanding that what I'm doing is right, it was more important than me making a lot of profit. And this amount of money, even after charges, earning 1.3 lakhs with a capital of 5 lakh rupees was a great achievement for me. And this is when I came across, that I can remove the trades where I'm making small losses and small profits. The big losses is what I had to remove. Sorry, not the small profit. And if I retained the small profits, the small losses, and the big profits, I'll be able to succeed on the long term. Right. So if you see on all the expiry days, that was only Thursday. Nowadays, like the entire week, we have expiries, but earlier it was just Thursdays. So if you see Thursdays, I had like the big profits. Okay. And ultimately, that is what was giving me more profits than the other days. And at the same time, it's not just about making a profit or loss. My thought process also counted. When I was making a profit on the other days, the factor of confidence with which I was making that profit was very, very less. But when I was doing it on an expiry day with my present system, that the confidence that I had was very good and my probability was very good. So I was more peace of mind. Right. So what really changed the entire journey was not just this, what happened in April of 2021. Okay. So during this time is when I was just, sharing this with, nearby close friends and nearby families, and how we can actually get into the markets, what we can do, what are the opportunities, and all of that. And during this time, I also came across one of the industrialists. I didn't know he was an industrialist, but apparently he was in my connection. And apparently what he had done was he went ahead and he had done some random trade, and his total capital was 30 lakhs. So as you can see, I had never traded more than 30 lakhs capital. The highest I had traded was 5 lakhs capital. So at this point of time, he was trading with 30 lakhs and he had done something wrong, and his P&L was running minus 1 lakh. Okay. So he just shared his details, and I don't know what happened. I had to sit the entire day in front of the screen. I couldn't blink my eyes also. So that's how terrified I was, because I had to handle such a big account. So 30 lakhs account at that point of time in 2020 for me was a very, very big amount, right?
It's 6x of what the capital that you were trading with.
So 6x of whatever I've ever traded in my life. So,
and that was somebody else's money. So
yeah. So when that happened, like in a span of like the same day, I was able to bring that minus 1 lakh to zero the same day. And the next day, it was an expiry day, thankfully. Okay. And we bought it from 0 to plus 1 lakh. Okay. So that is when I started trading in that account. And let me check. I can just get that. You're able to see now?
Yeah.
So entire of March 2021, I had not traded, and 2021. So the first day of April, that was a Thursday, I think we made around 1 lakh plus. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And if you see this entire line here,
Hmm.
this is exactly what we were doing. Right. So all the other days you can see it's just small profits, small losses. It didn't really matter what was happening. So once we did this with a 30 lakhs capital, I was able to make around 11.57 lakhs. And after charges, it was 10.32 lakhs. So now
10.32 lakhs over a period of 4 months is still, almost 2.5 lakhs a month.
Exactly. So every other week we were trading. Every Thursday we were making up almost like 70,000, 80,000, 1 lakh. Right. So even if you go to my Instagram now, you'll be able to see all of these recordings and all of that, because I was a geek of sharing all of these things at that point of time. So as you can see, there was only one red. So out of like how many weeks? Like 1, 2, 5, 9, 13, and 19 weeks, right? Out of 19 weeks, 1 week we had a loss-making week, and remaining 18 weeks were profitable. So this gave me the confidence that if I'm able to bring this down, then I can actually help other people also out who are not able to spend a lot of time into making this money. Right. And another game changer along with this is the knowledge that I got about financial freedom from different people like Tony Robbins. And I read a lot of books about understanding finances. So that is how I understood that, okay, only a single source of income from my 9 to 5 job is not going to take me anywhere. And when I started making this kind of money, for me, the amount of freedom that I felt and the confidence it got me to get me out of my 9 to 5 was even higher. So that is how I was able to effectively resign and have that confidence that I have another source of income. And at the same time, it's not just about money all the time. It's about fulfillment is what I feel. So when I was just making money all of this time, it didn't make a lot of purpose when I was in the 9 to 5. But instead, when I started sharing this with others and even their life started becoming different, that is when I started feeling fulfilled. Right. So it's not just happiness, because happiness, if you get a good raise this year, then you'll be happy. Next year, again, you're crying for the same raise again. But fulfillment, I think, is going to stay with us for the long term. Right. So when I'm able to help other people, they're able to get results, it's life-changing. So that is why I think that if you're able to have another source of income that you can actually use for investing and your primary source for your present expenses, then that can actually grow into a very big nest egg over 10 years, 15 years, because power of compounding is very, very strong, right? So that is going to help them become financially free. So to answer that question, I think I covered.
Yeah, I mean, my next follow-up question was actually going to be, something on the same line. When was it that, you actually thought and felt that, it's probably the right time to hang up my working boots and become a full-time, trader / mentor / coach?
Yeah. So, yeah, please complete if you.
No, so and post that in the sense, and post that, how do you think your trading journey has been and how has it changed? See, when you're doing a full-time 9 to 5 kind of a job and you're also trading in parallel, conflicting priorities and all this stuff basically always keeps happening, right? But the moment you make the jump over the wall and become a full-time trader, and you also have people who are on the coaching path, because your mission is that, right, to actually create independent traders for life. And I think that's probably what drew me towards taking up the elite this thing as well. That this is not something that I'm looking at doing for a very, very short term. Right? This is something that I'm looking to do at a much longer time frame, even post retirement. If this can, I mean, rather than relying on just my investments and just my returns from those investments to actually keep me, comfortable. This is something that I want to do and continue this to be an earning potential that would actually take care of my regular expenses. Might not be now, maybe 10 years from 10 years down the line. But so for you, when did you mentally make that shift? and how has life been, or how has your trading journey been post that shift?
Okay. So I have been part of a few masterminds, right? So when it comes to learning about business or all of that. So predominantly because my entire family has been business right from the start. And I was the only person who actually came into this engineering field, went into a 9 to 5 and all of that. In one of these mastermind sessions, right, I was talking to one gentleman and this person said, so where do you think, you'll be able to provide more value to the marketplace? So ultimately, if you think of anybody, right, you are working in a specific company only because you're able to provide certain amount of value to that company because of which they're paying you a salary, right? So similarly, I was also thinking where I can provide more value to the marketplace and also feel fulfilled at the same time. So my 9 to 5, the job was really good. The company was amazing. The team was really good, but there was some kind of, no, I was not satisfied with that kind of work, right? And I felt that the value that I was providing to the company was far, far inferior to what I can actually provide if I came out and did something on my own. And since trading was something that I liked, I loved, as you can see, I traded like every other day that was possible. It was not that I trade one day and 3 months I was not trading, something like that. So I was trading every other day. So I found this passion in trading. And at the same time, when I answered that question to myself, how many people are actually suffering because they don't know what is the approach towards trading? And if they are able to get that value, how it's going to change their lives? And if I'm able to provide value, that is the best thing that I could do. And that is what actually helped me make this decision that I could actually leave my company. And in fact, before doing that, I did a complete document where I asked every question of my consequences of my present life. What would be the worst case scenarios? I even added if, at that point of time, I was not married yet, and if my girlfriend's parents would allow me to get married or not, right? Because they would want some amount of security, right?
Absolutely.
So these are like real life scenarios that I actually went through. And when I looked at the worst case scenario, so it was all fine for me. I felt like if I stayed here, I would be in a, bad situation maybe, right? So that is how I made the shift. And coming to how my trading changed. So initially, once I left my job, I started doing only trading main focus. But then I realized that I started sucking at it because there was a lot of pressure to earn that monthly income. So that is when I realized it is very, very important to have multiple sources of income so that you can take the pressure off of trading, because it's a skill-based income. I knew the systems. I have already done it before, not just once. I have done it so many times. If I was able to do that then, why am I not able to do it now? The only variable that changed was me being a full-time employee to a full-time trader. Right. So again, it depends on people's mental capacity and their financial stability. But for me, I started seeing trading as the only source of income, which was not the right thing to do. So I also had to gear up and then have starting multiple sources of income. So now I have a rental income. I also have my business and I also have trading. Right. So this actually changed the perspective and I'm back on track. And in fact, like I was sharing with you the other day, so the journey of the last 1 year, I was trying out with a newer capital and lost almost like 3.5 lakhs on a 20 lakh capital. So that again was not because I was doing full-time trading. That was because purely I was trying something new and with a larger capital. Okay, so trying something new all the time with a larger capital is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, and it took me like almost 1 month to come back to this entire thing. So I'll probably share that with you as well. But yeah, this is what the thing. So having multiple sources, removing the pressure off, and at the same time, making sure that your worst case scenario is something that you can handle is very, very important to make that transition.
So, one important, one inquisitive, question of sorts. So, for someone who is starved for time, as a working professional, for someone, because you have this, COVID came and work from home and all the other stuff had come in, but it only has made people's working days, a lot longer, because previously it used to be a case that you have to be in office to attend a meeting. Now people are okay to have a meeting at 7:30 in the morning with their morning coffee sitting on their dining table. And, it also means that work has gone deep into, your personal life in the evening as well. Now, considering the fact that you have work that is spread across throughout the day, and you actually have a very limited time in which, the markets are open, which is 9:15 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon. How do you think somebody who is actually entering into this space of, learning trading and wanting to make that a long-term thing, how do you think that ideally should be balanced in terms of your work life vis-a-vis your learning, my trading life that I'm actually going to do for a lifetime?
Right. So the way I see it, so yeah, COVID has definitely changed the way we work. But we have gone through the financial freedom calculator, you have done the calculations and everything. So let's say your goal ultimately for the end of the year was to make 20 lakhs per annum, including all your income sources. And you're able to make around 12 to 15 lakhs from your primary source. And you have to make an additional 5 lakhs from trading or another business or whatever, right? So if you have to make 5 lakhs, how much do you have to make? Let's keep it as 6 lakhs so that we'll get it at 50,000 per month through trading. So when it comes to options, it gives us so much abundance of flexibility that you can always create a system or strategy that can suit your lifestyle. You want to do overnight positions that you want to hold for a few days, you can do that. And if you want to do intraday, okay, maybe you have a hybrid kind of a scenario where you're trading, where you have to go for your office 3 times a day, 3 times in a week, and 2 times you're just at home, and you're able to do it for 3-4 hours and make up for that work with your during the other time. Then it has a lot of flexibility. So people have to be very conscious about where they're spending their time. So in fact, we also did that exercise in the refresher course, if you remember, right? So where we went ahead and plotted
Planning your day in blocks.
Yeah, blocking your calendar in a specific way. So that makes you understand where you're actually putting your time. And because ultimately, end of the day, it's not just 20 lakhs of money, you should spend quality time with your family as well. And during this transition time is the most difficult challenge, because you'll have to manage your trading and your primary source, your family time, your hobbies, you want to go out, all of that, right? But it's for a shorter period of time, right? So it will all pay out towards the end. So you have to be willing to put in that sacrifice and make sure that you do that, so that you're going to be free for the larger part of your life and not stay the same way and complain about the rest of your life. I think that's the way people have to look at it.
I mean, the reason why I asked you this question is I've kind of been going through the journey for the last 2 months. It's always been a case where I have been working from home to a large extent, and as I've moved from one company to another company very recently. I had that flexibility and I had that freedom that I could actually work from home for all 5 days. But Tuesdays and Thursdays were the most painful, because my wife used to work from home on the same days, and she's like, "Dude, you're not even available to have lunch together." I'm like, "Let's have lunch at 3:30 and then I'll join you," because Tuesday is pin nifty expiry and Thursdays are back nifty expiry. So, and I think the first 2 Tuesdays and Thursdays were a bit difficult. After that, it used to be a case where she has a lunch at 1:30 and she tells me, "Your food is on the table, just go pick it up when you're done." So I think the family also gets used to it. So
yeah, so that is one of the important aspects I think I wanted to share as well. So family support is very, very important. During this entire journey, my wife, my parents, they have been very supportive. From my childhood, they have never stopped me from doing anything, and they've supported me and they're supporting me till date. But the biggest change that I have seen is my parents earlier were like, "What are you doing? You're trading," and all of that. But now if I'm not trading, they're like, "How come you're not trading today?" So that shift in belief system happens only when
yeah,
they start seeing the results, right? Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So you have to be a little bit careful with your family. Show them the results. Start small. Show them the results. Let them also understand what you're trying to do. And especially in Indian families, most people around have lost money in the stock market, not because it's a gambling. They do gambling with stock market. Stock market is not a gamble.
I mean, I basically come from such a family, right? In fact, that's one reason why I'm very, very skeptical about entering trading for a very large part of my life, because I've had uncles and aunts who have actually done that. And the irony basically is that you have one successful person in the family who has actually done and generated fairly decent returns, but there are 15 other people who have actually, spoiled the name of the profession of trading, saying that it's akin to gambling. And for me to open up to my mom and my dad saying that, hey, you know what, I'm actually going to a trading course and, I'm actually trying to learn this. The first question my dad asked was, I hope you're being careful about your risk to reward ratio. And my dad stopped there. He has been a serial entrepreneur, right? But with my mom, she's been like, I hope you don't become like that uncle. I hope your fortunes don't turn out to be like this uncle. I'm like, relax, relax. That's the reason why I'm getting coached. And I basically have someone who has, the experience and who can actually handhold me from going down the wrong path. And, coming to that, even before the course began and, when we basically were having that interaction, there was a very, very strong emphasis with respect to psychology, more than techniques and more than understanding patterns or market movement and everything. You actually are someone who actually has a very, very strong emphasis on psychology. I just wanted to pick your brains on that in terms of when did you come across this transition? Because, for somebody who learned what options are, what a call option is, or what a put option is, all by yourself and by trial and error, understanding that, knowing all that is on one side of the equation, but I think what's more important is to approach that with the right psychology or the right mindset, right? So when did that shift happen?
Right. So again, I'll have to go a little bit back in my journey. So even before I started the company or started training people in the stock market, I am a person who always loved doing public speaking or be it any kind of events, right? So on stage, I would be the first person to be there, right? So when this kind of thing comes, right from my young age, my mom has been pushing me into these kind of events, and she always made me do that so that I build confidence. Right. So she is a very good person with psychology, to be honest. I think I grabbed a little bit of that from her. But yeah, if she's also an entrepreneur and a lot of people come to her and share their sorrows, even if they're her customers, right? So psychology is something that has inherently come with respect to that. But the major change happened when I started training from other people. I was a part of Toastmasters. I took trainings from multiple people like Dan Locke, Tony Robbins, Darshan Somaya, and all these different kind of people who are actually been doing amazingly with their lives and training other people, right? So their emphasis, most importantly, was Tony Robbins. So the day when I understood about the 6 needs of humans, right? So that is the day I actually understood that why we are doing anything in a specific way is because we are built that way, or it's because of our psychology. So then I understood the importance of that, how it can impact in our trading. And then doing more, digging deeper into that is when I realized that all of it is ultimately, if you're forced to do a specific trade, you're doing it emotionally. But if you have data and you're making decisions based on data, then it is going to be logical. So when I started implementing, this happened over a period of time. It did not suddenly, like one day I did not wake up and I was like, psychology is important. So when I experienced a lot of,
you didn't sleep under the Bodhi tree and you didn't get that. It's actually common practice.
Yeah. So especially when I was building this waterfall methodology, right? So that is when certain days I used to be like, okay, let me just put this trade and go and sleep off. Okay, I used to put not like a GTT kind of, there was a direct stop loss at that point of time. There was no GTT. So I put a stop loss and go sleep off actually. Because I like that hit of seeing a big profit at the end of the sleep. You wake up and you see a big profit. And as you can expect, most of the times it hit a stop loss. Right. So I was like that emotional when it came to trading. And but eventually, once I started seeing that, okay, your decisions has to be based on data, and I started tracking data, all of this changed. So eventually risk management came into picture, psychology came into picture. So I think these are the 3 pillars, psychology being the highest, risk management being the next, and the third being the trading technique that you follow. And the 4th pillar that keeps all of these pillars together is record keeping, which you are a master at.
Well, I mean, even though, Kite does a very, very good job of, keeping a history of all the trades that you have done, and it's a very, very good at log keeping. I think when I look at the tracker that I use, for my tracking, and then I basically see that snapshot or summary, and the most corner part of it, right, as to why I did what I did at this point in time. I think that basically adds a little bit of the factor, because every time I feel that I'm going down a rabbit hole, I think it's now kind of become a natural this thing for me to basically go and look back as to, hey, this something like this has actually happened before, and how did I react at that time? That is something that is kind of helping me. And yes, I've always been good at record keeping, because for me, I run strategy, right? I run, and for me, data basically makes a big difference with respect to how I operate my business, and I don't think so. Trading should be different. So that's one reason why I went above and beyond in terms of amplifying the basic tracker that you gave and made it the monster it is today. So
Yeah, I definitely think hundreds of people are going to benefit from that. Thank you so much for that contribution, though.
most welcome.
Yeah. So one other aspect of
So
psychology is like how you do anything is how you do everything. So one episode of one of our clients is when he went actually into kind of depression, because not just he was making losses in trading, he was not willing to get married. His job was very shitty. He was not willing to shift that. And I was able to talk him out after I got my training in psychology and all of these things. So because that had changed my perspective towards life. And once I had a few sessions with him, now he was able to come out of his depression. Today he is married, he is trading regularly, and he's happy with life, right? So that kind of a transformation, like, put more emphasis that psychology is most important than anything else in trading also.
no, I think from that perspective, right, the value add that you guys basically bring to the program and the people who are a part of the program, I think from that perspective is phenomenal. I mean, I come from a generation where previously it used to be a case where you go to bank and you know who the manager is, and you know that the manager is a good person and they're not going to steal all your gold deposit or cash that is there in your this thing and run away with it. But of late, everything has become more digital, and everything has become more remote and far off, right? So having that human connection in terms of, see, if I am trusting somebody uh, who basically is going to give me the knowledge in terms of making a second source of income with the hard-earned money that I've actually, invested into this, not just the course, but even for trading, you require a capital, right? And that capital doesn't come from thin air. It's basically somebody's hard-earned money that has basically gone into, the whole foundation or basics of trading. And for someone to trust just that is not enough. I think what you guys bring to the table is much more than that. That people actually feel that confidence. People actually have that comfort of having that discussion with you in terms of, because end of the day, like you said, it's all linked, right? If I'm doing something, there better be a good reason behind why I'm doing it. And if I am in a negative frame of mind, or if I'm in a very distracted frame of mind, I honestly will not know why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because for me, it felt right at that time. I just did it. But end of the day, when you look at your P&L and you see like out of 20 lakhs, you have a 2 lakh loss on one day. That's a 10% erosion, right? So I think what you guys bring to the table actually is amazing from that perspective, because it keeps things on a very even keel. Is my feeling. And yeah, I mean, you guys are doing a very, very good job of it.
Thank you so much, Hari. And that's the reason we love working with limited number of people and giving them that personalized support and having that human connection. Because why I do this is very clear, because I want to help them in any way that I can so that their life becomes better. So if not this strategy, there tomorrow another strategy that I'll come up with, or something that I'll help them with. But the intention is very clear, to help them become independent. And if I'm working with somebody, I'm definitely going to help them get there.
Lovely. I think I'm probably done with my barrage of questions to you. And if there is anything that you would want to ask me, I'm absolutely open.
Right. So my question would be, so moving forward, like, 6 months is a good time, I think, is required for any person to develop a specific high income skill. And that is what we are bringing to the table here. 6 months and you will be able to transform your life, right? So you have been here for 6 months. Do you think you have experienced that kind of a transformation?
Well, honestly, if you ask me about my experience and my level of confidence right now, honestly speaking, it is actually high from the point where I started it off with. In the sense, I started off at zero. I mean, we had this conversation before that this is probably the first time I've actually approached anybody for getting trained in terms of trading. My investment even in equity started during COVID because I mean I'm a big follower of Warren Buffett, and COVID was the time probably when all markets were kind of probably trading at the lowest low, and I actually found out that good company stocks are actually available at much cheaper prices than what they technically should be, and I felt that that was a good opportunity to enter the equity market. And most of my investments are all on a long term horizon, be it my mutual funds or be it any of my other investments. But none of that was actually backed with scientific data or financial data or anything of that sort. Hey, L&T is a company that I've worked with. I know what the company does. Okay, let me invest. BHEL is a company that's government backed. Okay, let me invest. Yes Bank is available at 5 rupees. Okay, let me invest. That to a large extent was more or less my investment this thing. But after having that first conversation with you on the screening call, and understanding what intraday trading actually is, understanding what expiry is, because I didn't understand OAuth options at that point in time. From there, if I I've come to a point where I can actually make calculators on my own in terms of calculating IV of any position that I'm taking, creating a bull put spread, and trying to evaluate different strategies as I'm basically getting involved in a new journey right now, which is kind of going to keep me busy throughout. I think from a confidence perspective, I've gone to the moon from Earth. At least that's how far I feel that I've come. But I think this only will get solidified, over time, and the more you do it, the more grounded you are. And I think so. This is something that I've actually stuck to the wall that is right in front of my laptop right now. I mean, especially from a trading perspective, right? It has to get boring. It has to get mundane. I basically want myself to mature to that point, saying that it kind of becomes an involuntary muscle memory sort of this thing in terms of what to do and what not to do. And yeah, probably in about a year and a half time, I think I should get there. And
Absolutely.
I'm sure and I'm confident that I'll get there in principle, because I know that I can ping you at any point in time just to check, saying that, hey, will this work? You think, am I going in the right direction? And you are someone who calls a spade a spade. You're not someone why don't you try it and figure out? I think I mean, if it is something that you have also not tried, and if it is something out of the blue, again, you're someone who basically is willing to experiment that and tell that, let's test this for a month and let's look at the result, and then maybe let's finalize if the strategy is actually working for us or not. Because end of the day, entering the trade is not just about making profit, like you said, right? It's about having that peace in terms of going to bed, holding an overnight position, which is something that I did. And you said that, okay, now that you've taken it and you're still, in a much far in the safe zone, it's still fine, but please don't do it in the future. So
Yeah, like, see, right now in the background, there's a capital with 20 lakhs running in the background. Trade is open. You are also in an open trade. I think you're trading with a capital of around 5 or 10 lakhs right now, right?
about 6 lakhs, yeah.
Or about 6 lakhs right now. And we're able to have this conversation comfortably without looking at the screen again and again and again. And I think that's a big success in this entire journey. Because end of the day, long term, if you have to do it, health is also something that we really need to keep a measure on.
So previously, it used to be a case where even on those long-term trades that I put in, there is at least 2 or 3 times a day where I actually open the window and I check, has this gone up or has this gone down? And somebody actually had to come and hit me with a book on the head, which is my sister, to tell me that, dude, you've invested this for a long term. Nothing is going to happen if it goes 5 rupees up or 5 rupees down in the next half an hour. Just close the damn window and get out of your seat. So
yeah. So that gives a lot of peace of mind, given you have the right systems in place and the right person to guide you, is what I feel. Because if I did not have guides in my life, I think till now I would have been struggling. So yeah, having a guide is very, very important, but choose the guide that you think can match your frequency. That's what I would say. All right, then thank you so much, Hari.
Sounds good. Perfect.
Thank you so much, and I'll see you again.
Yep, sure.